Hello everybody, it's Jess here with Bless Jess. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to do a chatty video while I sip my tea here in my Joy mug. And we're going to talk about where I've been, what's been going on. We're going to spill the tea. Isn't that the phrase? Okay, I know I completely disappeared and my camera is acting up too. I think it's sick too. We completely disappeared. I think the last video I posted was on Friday. And after that, all the crap hit the fan and I didn't get to edit or post or do anything. I just disappeared, and I had some people reach out and ask if everything was okay. Today's the first day I felt like talking about it, and I want to preface this by saying we are all okay. We are so blessed. We are all doing great. But I know a lot of you are worried, and I do want to share our experience and tell you guys where we've been and what's been going on and what the plan is. And that's what we're doing today. So I've got my tea here. This is my lemon, lemon green tea that I love. So Mark had a really bad cold the last time I talked to you guys. He had an ear infection. We all kind of had a cold. On the tail end of us getting better on our cold, the dreaded C word, y'all know what I'm talking about. For some reason, YouTube doesn't like it for us to say it, but you know, it got brought into our household, and yeah, it has come. COVID, I guess I can say it, well, who cares, is here. So on Wednesday night, Lucy was telling me that she was really, really cold. It was cold outside. So I was like, okay, well, let's, bundle you up. She didn't have a fever. She didn't have any other symptoms. She just told me she was really cold. She went to school. She felt fine on Thursday. Thursday night, she said she felt cold again, and I was like, okay, let's take your temperature. She didn't have a temperature. So I put her back to bed, but at 2 in the morning, she woke up. I heard her saying, Mama. You guys know, like, when you hear that in the middle of the night, it's never good. I was hoping it was like just a bad dream or something. I went in her room and she said, I don't feel good. And I felt her head, and she obviously had a fever. I took her temperature, it was like 102. So I was like, well, you can't go to school. We're going to have to go to the doctor. Put her back to bed gave her some Motrin, put her back to bed, woke up the next morning. And after she started having fever, we tried to like isolate her as best we could, but she had been around all of us before then. So anyway, I'm still a little foggy headed trying to remember the story. So the next morning I called the pediatrician because I knew if she missed school and had a fever, they were going to want to have her COVID tested and everything. So called the pediatrician, got her appointment. David stayed home with Mark, and Nate went to school as usual because if I kept him home, I know he would have to get tested too, and he didn't have any symptoms or anything. So I sent Nate to school. We went into the pediatrician, and because she had fever, we had to do like the protocol where they come and get you out of the car. Like, it's just not a normal check-in and stuff. They're being very precautious, which is a good thing. So first thing they did was test her for strep, because I was kind of thinking it was strep because she had a fever, and then she told me her throat was really hurting that morning. I forgot to tell you that. She said she had a really bad sore throat. So they tested her for strep first off. It came back negative. The doctor came in, did a full workup. Her lungs sounded great. Her throat looked okay. Her ears looked great. Everything looked great except she had fever in the night. She had no fever in the morning at all, even after the medicine had worn off. So the doctor's like, before she leaves, I want to test her for COVID because, it definitely could be that. It's definitely going around, and, nowadays, like, you have to make sure it's not COVID. Which I've said that word a bunch now, and I hope I don't get flagged or whatever. I don't know. So they said, we're going to test her, and then we'll call you in like 2 hours with the results, which she was not happy about being tested for strep or COVID, but she did great. She got through it. Well, 2 hours later, I expected the call like she's negative because at this point, she was feeling fine. Like, she was running around playing, she was eating, she didn't have any more fever. And the PA is the one that called me, the physician assistant, and she said, Lucy is positive. I was like, oh no, are you kidding me? Like, we have not had this in our house. And oh no, I mean, I know lots of you have and have been through this. Me and David are vaccinated, but the kids aren't. That just went through. And anyway, so she said, yeah, she's positive. And I said, okay. So she's like, when did she first start having symptoms? I said, honestly, it was probably Wednesday night. And she was like, okay, she's got to stay home for 10 days. And I said, what about Nate? I know he's going to have to quarantine too from school. And she said, yes, he's going to have to stay home as well. And I said, well, should I get him tested? And I told her, this is the problem that we're having. Getting Nate tested is not easy. He's been tested twice. My 9-year-old has autism. He's been tested twice, and it's progressively gotten worse, and he just throws a complete fit when it's time for him to get tested. And I don't want to put him through that if we don't have to. And she said, honestly, he probably, because I told her, he does have a little bit of a runny nose, but I'm assuming it's the cold that we all just had. And she said he probably has it if he's been exposed to her. But she said, honestly, he's going to have to quarantine anyway. So because the test is so stressful, I'd recommend just not testing him and just having him quarantine. And so I was like, okay. So we went and got Nate from school, alerted the school so they could start their contact tracing and all that. You always feel kind of guilty, but like we did everything we're supposed to do. I feel bad that, we exposed kids at school unknowingly, but, we didn't know. And so let's see whatever else that happened that day. I went and got some home tests. Now the home tests are very accurate. They're actually the same. The brand I buy is the same ones our health department uses. It's the exact same test. And so I thought, well, maybe I can test Nate myself and kind of get him used to it. So I tested me, I tested Mark, and I tested him as best I could. It was really bad and ugly. He did not want to be tested. He threw a complete fit. I don't even know if I got a good test. I got the thing in there for like a second or two is all. And then you're supposed to do like 15 seconds. So it's probably not even accurate. It was the best I could do. I tested negative on Friday. Mark tested very, very faint positive. So he definitely had it. And then Nate tested negative. So the weekend we stayed home. Oh, and David tested. He went actually into the clinic. And he tested negative because he could work because he's vaccinated, even if he's around us, like if he was around us, as long as he wears a mask and stays socially distant because he's vaccinated, if he doesn't have symptoms, he can still go into work. And he works like by himself in his own office. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But according to the doctors and the CDC, he can still work unless he has symptoms because he's vaccinated. Anyway, I feel like this is not making any sense. I am like so foggy headed. So, let's see. So we all tested, I tested negative on Friday. Mark tested positive, Lucy tested positive. So we just tried, how do you socially distance from your kids that you're taking care of? It's pretty much impossible. But we didn't do hugging and kissing. Like we all just tried to kind of stay back from each other. And we really have had mild, like nobody was really, really sick on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Everybody was just a little bit like, Lucy had a little bit of a runny nose. She did have fever again, I think on Saturday, like really randomly. Nate had one night of having chills, no fever, just chills, and some upset tummy, which I know that can be part of it, which I'm pretty sure he had it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to quarantine for the whole time with him. So let's see. I'm getting my story. Okay. Monday hits and I start feeling achy. Like that is the best thing I can tell you how I felt. Because I had a cold like for the week before this. I know it wasn't COVID because I tested negative. I had a really bad cold, but then on Monday, my body just ached and I have been vaccinated. So I was hoping I wasn't going to get this. Anyway, I started feeling really, really achy. I decided to go in and get the test at the clinic. And they told me it would be like 30 to 45 minutes to get the results. I waited for 2 hours, still didn't have them. Was really concerned about that. Finally got the results and they said I was positive. So then me and David, really more socially distanced. He's now sleeping in a completely separate room from me. Lucy's actually sleeping with me since she's positive. And we cleaned her room and got new bedding and all that for him to sleep in. So David is testing daily. So far, he has been negative every single day. The other 4 of us are pretty much 100%. I'm sure we're positive, but we can't get a test on Nate. It's almost impossible to get a test on him. So he's just quarantining with us. Today that I'm talking to you guys is Wednesday, so I have been positive for 2 days, and that we know of, I'm thinking I probably was positive on Saturday, because I was around her so much on Friday. We've been talking to the Indiana Department of Health. They've been advising us on what to do and how to quarantine and how long and all of that. Of course, the schools and everything like that. But I wanted to tell you guys what was going on because, you know, I'm always curious about, like, it's so weird how it affects people differently. The only symptom I've really had the last 2 days is a terrible headache. And y'all know I get migraines anyway. So it's hard to know, like, is this just a regular migraine or is this, you know, the virus? I think it could be a little bit of both. But I felt just really, like, kind of achy. I haven't really felt as achy as I did on Monday. The last 2 days, I've just felt like a really bad headache and just tired. And then the only thing, like, I haven't lost my taste or smell. The only other thing is that coffee tastes terrible. That's the only thing so far I've tried that does not taste good, and that is so sad. I'm hoping that doesn't last long. It tastes like super bitter. Like if coffee was just like the most bitter drink in the world. It tastes kind of like medicine. So that's not good. The other kind of crappy thing is because David is negative and we're trying to keep him negative, I am taking care of all 3 children by myself with COVID, and I would not recommend that. You know, God is so good, and we have been making it through, but taking care of 3 kids when you don't feel good and have a really bad headache is really not recommended. Thankfully, my kids have been amazing, and they've all felt fairly good. I will say all of us have had very mild symptoms, and so we're getting through it. So the best I can tell y'all. We have eaten a lot of takeout. The house is not clean. There's a lot of things I need to do. I'm trying to stay on top of laundry and wipe down surfaces and stuff when I can. But in terms of like clutter, it's not good, y'all. I'm sitting here in Mark's room as I'm talking to y'all because there's fairly decent light in here. But we are stuck in quarantine until Lucy could go back to school next Monday. I'm probably going to keep her home until after Thanksgiving break. Just a second. The kids are driving me literally crazy because they're stir crazy. I'm stir crazy. And we're just going to be at home for the next little bit. But hopefully we'll be good in time for Thanksgiving and all of that. And I am kind of glad we're getting this over with before the holidays. It would be terrible to be positive during Christmas, you know. So anyway, that's the story. You guys pray for us. Okay, sorry you guys. Lucy kept saying, "Mommy, Mommy," and I finally said, "Yes, what?" And she said, "Oh, I just want to know where you were." Okay. I said, "Please don't call my name again unless someone is hurting or bleeding." Please. Anyways, what was I saying? Prayer requests. That I don't lose my mind. Honestly, no. My head needs to stop hurting. The kids, honestly, the kids are doing great. Like, Mark is completely fine. His cold with the ear infection was way worse than him with COVID. But, like, the last few days, he's been eating better. He's been playing, all of that. Nate seems completely fine. The only symptoms he's had is that really weird chilled night, and then he had some stomach problems. Lucy has had it probably the worst, but she is fine. Like, she's eating, she's playing, she's doing her schoolwork, and that's another thing. We got schoolwork on top of this. Turns out Lucy's whole class is quarantining, not just because of her, but I think there's some more kids out. So my theory is that Lucy brought this home. I know Mark was sick before, but he was negative for COVID. So unless it was just me and him were negative. And so I think Lucy brought this home at the end of all of our colds. And then me and Mark got it from her. We also need to pray that David stays negative. He is vaccinated. So with him isolating and stuff, I'm hoping that he will stay negative so that we can enjoy Thanksgiving outside of quarantine. And I just pray that, you know, everybody just keeps doing well. Like, we are doing fine. None of us have like any kind of scary symptoms. I actually talked to my doctor after I was positive, and he said, "It sounds like you're having very mild symptoms." And he said I wouldn't even, because I was asking about like the antibody infusions and stuff, if I needed to get that. And he said, with your young age and the fact that you're not having like a lot of the worrisome symptoms, I wouldn't say that you need that. Just kind of rest, which rest with 3 kids, y'all. Rest with 3 kids, you know, it's like impossible. But he said, I would just recommend you just kind of treat your symptoms. So that's what we've been doing, and I just miss you guys. I had to talk to you. We don't worry about us. We are totally fine. We're taking all the recommendations of all the doctors that are treating us. We've had great care. The schools have been wonderful. I'm not stressing out on schoolwork, but Lucy, I haven't actually done any schoolwork with Nate just because I haven't felt like it. He feels fine. I haven't felt like doing the schoolwork with him, but Lucy's been doing hers because she enjoys it, and we're really doing fine. Lots and lots of takeout and grocery pickups and stuff like that have been wonderful. David has been amazing, and you know, helping us where he can. Like, he can't really take care of us, but he can help with the laundry and the dishes and stuff like that. So he's been doing great. And I don't know why this camera keeps going out of focus, y'all. But anyway, I love you guys so much. That's where we've been. If you like this video, it's okay to like it. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I'll be back soon. I'm starting to feel better. If I could just get rid of my headache, I would feel a lot better. I will see you guys soon, and subscribe if you're new, because, you know, you don't want to miss out on any of the fun. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.